It was an ordinary day for 15-year-old Sarah when her life took a terrifying turn. On her way home from school, she was approached by a man who seemed friendly at first. He offered her a ride, claiming to be friends with her parents. Little did she know, this would lead to her being kidnapped. The moment she stepped into that car, her heart raced, and every instinct in her body screamed to escape. But it was too late, the door locked behind her. As they drove away from her familiar neighborhood, Sarah felt a wave of panic wash over her. She couldn't believe this was happening. Was she going to be another statistic? The car sped down the deserted road, and with every mile, her fear grew stronger. What would happen to her? Would she ever see her family again? This was just the beginning of a nightmare that would change her life forever. Once Sarah was taken to an isolated location, her reality turned into a nightmare. She was locked in a small room with barely any light. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah began to lose hope. She was subjected to emotional and psychological manipulation, a tactic often used by kidnappers to break down their victims. Sarah's days were filled with silence and fear, but she refused to let despair consume her. She would often think about her family, how they must be feeling, and this thought fueled her will to survive. She started to observe her captor closely, learning patterns in his behavior. How did he interact with her? What time did he come in and out? These observations would later become critical in her escape plan. But let's not forget the emotional toll it took on her. Every day was a battle against the overwhelming fear and isolation. Yet, Sarah held on to the hope that she would find a way out, that this nightmare would end. After weeks of being held captive, Sarah finally saw a glimmer of hope. She had been carefully watching her captor and noticed that he had a routine every evening. He would leave her alone for a few hours. This was her chance. She began to plan her escape meticulously. Using items she found in the room, she crafted a makeshift tool that could help her unlock the door. It was a risky move, but Sarah was determined. The day of her escape arrived, and her heart raced with fear and excitement. As her captor left, she took a deep breath and got to work. With shaking hands, she manipulated the lock, her mind racing with what might happen if she was caught. The sound of the lock clicking open was music to her ears. She had done it. Now came the hardest part, actually leaving the room and facing the unknown. Would she find safety, or would her captor be waiting for her? As Sarah quietly opened the door, her heart pounded in her chest. She tiptoed through the dark corridors of the building, every creak of the floorboards sounding like an alarm. The adrenaline coursed through her veins, propelling her to move faster. But just as she was about to reach the exit, she heard a noise behind her. Her captor had returned earlier than she expected. Panic surged through her, but she quickly hid behind a stack of boxes. The seconds felt like hours as she held her breath, praying he wouldn't find her. After what felt like an eternity, he walked past, unaware of her presence. Seizing the moment, Sarah dashed towards the exit, her heart racing. She burst through the door and into the night, feeling hope and terror overwhelm her all at once. Now, she was free, but the chase was far from over. Her captor would surely be after her, and survival instincts kicked in as she ran into the darkness. After managing to escape, Sarah ran for what felt like hours until she stumbled upon a small house. She knocked frantically, and the homeowner called the police. When the authorities arrived, Sarah was terrified yet relieved. She was quickly taken to safety, but her journey was just beginning. The aftermath of her ordeal was incredibly challenging. Sarah faced PTSD, anxiety, and the long process of healing. With the support of her family, friends, and therapists, she slowly began to reclaim her life. Her story didn't just end with her escape, it became a testimony of resilience and survival. Many people came forward to support her, and she even began speaking out about her experience to raise awareness about kidnapping and safety. Through sharing her story, Sarah not only began to heal but also empowered others to be vigilant. Her courage in the face of adversity became a beacon of hope for many, proving that even in the darkest times, there is always a way out.